I'm high income, high net worth household. I don't need to hear about that emergency fund stuff. That's too basic. Yet that is a popular question from these households that I hear. How much emergency fund do I need? Today, we'll talk about what is an emergency fund, how much is too much cash, and how do you build and maintain one? Let's chop. Far too often, high net worth and high income households tend to poo poo on emergency funds as too basic. Yet I get the question a lot, and business owners tend to suffer from cash flow interruptions in a year, a high percentage, matter of fact, 82%. And those with $150,000 of income from professional jobs tend to need about 3 times as more as middle income folks. Hi, I'm Dr. Preston Cherry, founder and CEO of Concurrent Wealth Management, and we help you align your life and wealth to help you achieve your wealth your way. So let's chop up about this. Too often we hear that emergency fund talk is too basic. However, emergency funds are the lifeblood. They are the heartbeat. And not only emergency funds, but cash flow management. Management is very essential to how you fund your lifestyle now, also address financial worry and anxiety, and protect your overall lifestyle over life's course. And it helps you protect your retirement as well. So having a mindful and meaningful cash management plan with a sufficient emergency fund is tantamount to success. Let's talk about what an emergency fund is. It really is insurance rather than investment. It helps you protect your finances and your lifestyle and your overall well-being. And if you think of it as insurance rather than investment, then it's a reframe to help you not think of lost opportunity in the market. Your money is already in the market. You need a buffer for that sometimes, right? So having that emergency fund where you're covering your lifestyle expenses, those necessary ones are called non-discretionary expenses. What are those expenses that you need in order to survive when an income stream is taken away from your main income stream, is taken away from your household? How is my household going to survive with a lack of one or two income streams? And can I use cash at the ready in order to maintain the lifestyle and the goals that I have in order to get to my next stage, right? Safely. And that's what emergency funds are. And you've heard the rule of thumb of 3 to 6 months of expenses. And sometimes that may or may not be applicable to a household. Remember, finances are personal. And when we're talking about high income folks, you have business professionals and you have business owners. Now, business owners, they have variable income over time. Sometimes cash flow is very good. And then there's market cycles and business cycles where there needs to be a buffer in there. So 3 to 6 months may not be it. Sometimes it's 6 to 9 months in order to wade the waters of variable cash flows from your business. That really does give your household peace of mind to where when there's times of low cash flow coming from your business, you don't have to sell assets from the market at an inopportune time in order to keep a level lifestyle while business is a little bit slow. Okay, so perhaps 9 to 12 months. Let's go to couples. Couples have 2 income streams, right? And if that household has 2 folks that are working. So if you have 2 folks that are working and bringing in income, if one has a disruption at their place of employment, then another one is still bringing money in. In that case, 3 to 6 months or 6 to 9 months may not be necessary. It depends on the risk tolerance of the household and the discussions and the like. That said, if one income is still, all else equal, if one income is still coming in, then you don't have to replace as much lifestyle when you still have an income stream coming in. So perhaps a shorter duration, say 3 to 6 months, may still be adequate in that regard because you have an income stream coming in. All right. Also, too, when you're replacing where you're funding your emergency fund, right? Uh, the characteristic, and this is what we're talking about, the characteristic of your home and of your goals is very important. So you want to set realistic emergency fund goals according to what's going to reduce your level of worry and anxiety, protect your near term and middle term lifestyle and what you value most and how you want to live, and also protect your long term goals. So you can either keep funding your long term goals or suspend funding those for a hot second, but not withdraw. Okay. So this is what emergency funds are for. They're for investment, or excuse me, they're for insurance, not investment, and they're for protection. Okay. Now, let's go to how to build an emergency fund and where the heck, where the heck do you put funds, emergency funds? There's a great debate about this, right? So when you're building your emergency fund, it just like most of your goals, you have to automate. So when you are coming up with an emergency fund that satisfies your household, figure out how much that is monthly and then fund it. You may already have a funded emergency fund. High income folks, they have enough resources to where you may already have an emergency fund. But I've run into a lot to where either a emergency fund is not made because folks are like, we have enough money and assets, we really don't need an emergency fund, or it's not prioritized. All right. So that leaves it underfunded, or it's not even there at all. Right. So even though, folks are in their later stages, 40s, 50s, and they, they'll hear about emergency fund. It's like, I've already discussed that. I already met that. Well, I'm telling you, we serve clients here at Concurrent Wealth Management, high income, high net worth. I can't tell you how many times that emergency funds are left unattended. Right. So, a couple of areas too. So automate, figure out what that is, be real about what you need and fund it immediately. Okay. And over a course of time. So you don't have to have a big chunk of money. You could do it over some months, right? Now, where do you store a emergency fund? First off, savings account. Now there's not too many interest in a savings account nowadays. But what about a money market in your brokerage account? Right, you can get those funds at the ready. Tends to have a higher interest earning rate than a savings account. Okay, but that money market account is inside of your perhaps your brokerage account. You get money at the ready where you don't have to make a sell in order to have a liquidating event. Okay, you can also ladder your emergency fund, so you can have money in your money market, and you can also purchase some treasury T-bills that have low risk, and then you can use a little bit of your money perhaps to put into the market at a low volatility, low risk investment, say like short-term ETFs. Okay, so you want to keep money at the ready, a large portion of it, as far as your emergency fund is concerned, more liquid than not. So you're talking about, you heard of a 60-40 portfolio where you can have a 60-40 emergency fund where you have 60 very liquid in those CDs, the money market, savings account, whichever one you choose. Don't have three of the same thing, right? And then you can put 30 to 40% into short-term ETFs, as far as short-term bond ETFs or treasuries, okay? So keep your allocation very liquid. If you're dying to have money in the market, try those low duration, low risk, low volatility areas of the market, like a short-term ETF, potentially a bond ETF that can give you a little bit more pop than, say, a money market account. Okay, so it's money market accounts, treasury bills, CDs, high yield savings accounts, and ETFs. Okay. So, and you can use a ladder approach. There's one even statistic that says if you have an emergency fund, then this is from Morningstar, by the way, have a 20% increased probability of having success with their finances by having an emergency fund, because it serves as a piece of protection. When unexpected events come up, you don't have to interrupt what you're already doing and disrupt that and throw you off track, right? So it's not only about the finances of your money, it's also about the feeling of your money. Do you feel protected in a way? All right. So here's another aspect, which is I get all the time is how much money is too much money? Is there too much cash to be had in an emergency fund? Well, yes, it could be a signal if someone is hoarding money because they're so risk averse and have had money trauma, so to speak. Just something that it increases their worry and anxiety. If I don't have enough cash on hand, their version of enough, then I don't feel well. I don't feel protected. That could be a barrier to not only current lifestyle well-being. It serves as a deprivation because you're not funding, living the aspirational life that you want to live. Also, too, if too much cash is around, that money is not going to your long-term needs as far as retirement and gaining the return that you need versus having it in your mattress where the bed bugs are biting, right? Those inflation bed bugs. Inflation bed bugs work terrible wonders on your cash because it just sits there, eats it, right? And opportunity cost is lost, and it affects your long-term retirement funding goals, right? So yes, there is a thing about too much cash, but you can also have too little. That said, there's a middle ground here to where you want to approach it as separating, and I've said this before, separate what the emergency fund is for, okay? Protection and insurance, not investment, right? So, for instance, if you have you're making $250,000 for your household, $250,000, right? 500,000, maybe even $1 million. You may have a quote unquote large amount of money in cash, which is particularly if you're funding your lifestyle and you mapped it out on paper. This is what we need per month. This is what we're funding for our short-term goals right now. It may seem like a lot. That said, if you have a laddered approach and say, you know what, I have this bucket for real liquid money, and then I have a bucket to where I can put some money in short-term ETFs, bond ETFs. Okay, that's fine too. All right. Also, when you're talking about, I get this question a lot. Should I put my money or my emergency fund money in the market, like in equities? And some folks say, listen, I don't want to have money sitting on the sideline. All right. This is the opposite of risk averse. This is very risk tolerant. All right. I don't need any money that's not making any money. So I'm going to put all of my money in the market. I would say there that, there are years in the market where there is a significant downturn and volatility. And you don't want to be forced to sell in a non-optimal market. So if you're going to invest your money into the market, please ensure yourself that you have at the ready funds, okay, that you can at least 3 months. If for example, if you think that you need 6 or 9 or 12 months, right? And you say, you know what, I'm not going to keep 6 or 9 months in the bank or 12 months in the bank. At least keep you 3 to 6 months real liquid, and then you have some stash that you can work with in your investment accounts to where you can pull. You don't want to have to pull immediately out of an investment account. Okay. All right. So what is an emergency fund? How to build one, and is there a thing as too much cash? And that last question is yes, but right. So Let me know if you like what you've seen, heard, and feel on the show today. Like and subscribe, share with your friends, colleagues, and family. And for the next time, we'll see you soon. Cheers.